Okay, I want to talk about marbles today, right? So Mistveil is interesting because we have really exciting marbles by way of the hero marbles, and then we have the plethora of transcend cards, sacred arts, and altogether it's a big assortment at a easier pull rate than say heavy hitters. It's probably somewhat equivalent to the theorized or estimated pull rate of like Uprising the Dragons, but altogether, I think the other thing I want to hammer home is this cycle that Fab follows in terms of card pricing. Because I was scrolling through Reddit and I came across this post, right? Marvel Transcend cards. I'm curious as to how much people have been asking for some of these Marvel Transcend cards. We've got a friend asking $80 for a Marvel Passover, but since they haven't officially released yet, I have nothing to compare it to. Any thoughts? Right? And then we have 50 to 60 sounds more realistic. We have Czech Star City Games. Star City Games is currently having them at 50 and then 75 for the more choice one, right? But overall, I think this is still way too high, right? I think 50 to 60 is ridiculously high to pay for the plethora of Marvel Transcend cards. And there's a few different factors that go into that, but it's also mainly due to, again, that cyclic nature of Fab during any set's release, right? We had a world premiere where a ton of the product was open, right? And some cards hit the market. We had Fables hit the market. We had Marvels. We had, some good cards actually hit the markets. Now we're in pre-release. And again, same sort of thing. Packs are being opened. Cards are hitting the market, right? But we're still, a week out from the actual release of the set in its entirety to the public. So right now we're in a supply and demand issue where these cards are inflated because some of them have hit the market, but there's a lot more people who want them than the supply, right? So until we actually get to the release, and then a few weeks after, there is going to be an overall inflated value for a lot of the cards. And yeah, overall, I think the Marvels are going to be the interesting point of discussion when it comes to that, is how much do they fall, right? Because in all honesty, I cannot see the majority of the Transcend Marvels being more than a $10 to $30 card. And the reason for that is a couple factors, right? If we look at, again, the choice Transcend cards, Preserved Tradition, Rising Sun, Setting Moon, and I'd even throw either Stir the Pot or Homage into it. Homage probably a little bit better, but all of those, right, those four, are the easiest to activate, are the easiest to utilize, the easiest to get chi out of, and in the way of Preserved Tradition and Rising Sun, Setting Moon, they have strong effects, right? The ability to cycle a card from your hand is powerful. The ability to get something back, a blank action card, right? No specific type of card, just a action card, is fantastic. They're both strong. Now, you also have art that goes into the way of Marvels, and some of them, gorgeous, right? It's a different style, right? There's no real unifying theme like the dragons or the figments, or even just the plethora of equipment from Bright Lights or Dynasty, right? So all these factors combine to, again, just, in all honesty, I think devalue the majority of Transcend cards. You're going to have easy access to them if you want them just to play. They're in the common slot. If you want a real show-off version, you only need one. They're all legendary and class constructed, which has the highest impact on pricing. You only need one. And then you also have, again, the scenario of which ones you're most likely going to run and which ones are just flavorful. Because I don't think any of the heroes at this point in time want as much Transcend as possible. You definitely want some, but you don't need all of them to get your value. So by way of the Marvels, right? Obviously the adult heroes are going to be worth the most, followed by, in all honesty, I would put my money on the Sacred Arts, then the young, and then the rest of the Transcend cards, with Rising Sun, Setting Moon, Preserved Tradition holding a premium over everything else. But altogether, what that also does is it splits up the value, because these aren't going to be, $50 Marvels. These are going to be $200, $300, $400 Marvels. Everyone wants the adult Marvels as the big show-off piece, versus that as something in your deck that you then also flip over into just cheap, right? So they're going to consume and siphon away the value from all the other Transcend cards. So in terms of this idea of $50 to $60, I don't actually agree. I don't think this is realistic. I think if you're buying into it this early on and not understanding the trend that Flesh and Blood usually follows, then you're in for a rough time, because you're going to buy these cards and they're going to come down, right? For every Marvel that opens, you have everyone who wants the adult heroes and then all the Transcend cards that will hit the market, because again, you'll have stuff like Passover, which is an okay effect. It's more in line for new. Yes, it has some disruption to it, but overall, it's not equivalent to Rising Sun, Setting Moon, and its flexibility and overall just much better use. So if that is going to be the pinnacle of these common Marvel cards, then Passover is going to be way less. And we can look at, previous sets and their Marvels. So you've got the Emperor, which again, comparable to Enigma, New Moon. Enigma is at least twice, if not significantly greater, right? But the Emperor in himself is still, like probably 1 in 250, 1 in, as in the total number of Emperors that are out there, right? It's actually small, even though they haven't given the numbers. It is very, very tiny. There's a reason he's so expensive. But you have, again, the adult heroes, which are going to attract a premium, and unlike heavy hitters, right? If we look at the pull rates. So Part of the Mistveil is 1 in 100. So it's better than heavy hitters. But you have a 50-50 chance in heavy hitters of getting an adult versus a young, with the adults holding a much better premium to them, versus Mistveil, where you've got 3 out of the 17 that are found in English, right, are adult. So that's not 50-50, right? Even to get a hero Marvel is 6 in 17. Throw in the Sacred Arts, and sure, now you're at that 50-50. But again, the adult heroes are, by and large, going to have the highest premium. So for every Marvel you open, despite it being easier to open them, if it's not an adult hero, the people who are opening en masse, able to, again, more greatly affect the price of singles, well, they're going to look at all the Marvels they pulled and go, well, I can charge this greater premium for the adult hero than these Transcend Marvels. So they're going to let these Transcend Marvels go for lower while they get more out of the adult heroes. So overall, I would say, my opinion is these are, again, $10 to $30 Marvels, if not just absolutely cheap, right, for a Marvel card, because everything else is just going to go into the real big chase elements of the slot. So if you are buying early, be wary, right? We are in the pre-release. We are in that little stopgap where only a few cards are getting out, right? There hasn't been mass openings. Sure, there's people who are opening cases. There are stores who probably are opening and starting to sell singles. But across the board, it's not going to be like it will be in a week from now or 2 weeks from now, when the majority of boxes start getting opened and the majority of boxes start getting ripped en masse and being supplied to the market, right? There's no foul here, right? It's not anything to do with people trying to manipulate the market. It is just simply supply and demand. We get the world premiere, we get cards coming out, right? But it's a very confined amount. To pre-release, opens up a little bit, and then to the actual street release, where all floodgates open. So until then, right, people are using the supply and demand to get a bigger premium on the cards. Flesh and Blood is a wonderful game to be a part of in the first 2 weeks to a month of a set's release. But after that, when everything stabilizes, when people go, well, I don't need them anymore, I got my playset. Sure, maybe I thought about Marvel, but I don't really care, or I'm not going to play these Mystic Heroes or anything like that. Then everything drops and declines. Even if we look at the dragons prior to Dromai hitting Living Legend, right? Mirago, probably one of the favored cards, correct? Right, that sees play in almost all Dromai decks. We go back, and it was a $35 card. Yeah, you have blinged out decks for Dromai. Definitely that you want 3 copies. You want 3 copies of the Transcend cards? No. So there is less demand for them overall. So they're not going to hold the same value, right? They are going to be very cheap Marvel cards at the end of the day, given the release schedule of LSS. Again, big event, or sending out boxes to choice people, then, pre-release, and then street. Right? That's a 3-week window where you have supply issues with a significantly high demand because people want to be the first in to get these new cards, to play with these new cards, right? There's excitement, there's FOMO. To then, again, 3 weeks later, when release happens and everyone starts ripping en masse and all the cards hit the market. Now, the other thing to probably discuss is the gold pack, right? So same sort of scenario. There will be lots of people who want to rip through a ton of gold packs in these early days to be part of the initial collective to find themselves a Marvel Enigma. But if you look at it realistically, the Rainbow Foil Enigma is very, very similar in terms of its pull rate to the Rainbow Foil Emperor, meaning it's probably going to be a $5 card. We could say 10 or 20, right? Given its girl factor, right? Its prettiness. But in all honesty, I would say $10, right? That would be my estimate. It's a $10 Rainbow Foil, which is a wonderful additive if you open a box to get a $10 card, right? Just for free on top of it. That's fantastic. But it does mean that these gold packs in these first, few weeks are going to be ridiculous. And there will be people out there, for whatever reason, paying ridiculous amount. I mean, $50 for a gold bag, I would probably sell it, right? I would be absolutely gutted if they opened it and they got a Marvel. But at the end of the day, $50 versus what's most likely a $10 card, easy done. But they will eventually fall down and they will sit relative to the Rainbow Foil. I mean, three Marvel Enigmas have already been opened, correct? So that means there are only 97 left, which already drastically reduces the odd, right? It's 1 in 50 for a 100,000 print run. We say it's 200,000 print run, which I think is a bit more realistic, right? It doubles. It's roughly 1 in 100, right? 1 in 100 packs gets you the Marvel. So yeah, there will be people who want 100 gold packs to open and will be willing to pay above what they necessarily should. It is not as valuable as you might think. And I think that's probably the better way to look at it, right? This is just a nice $10 bonus that might be a $5,000 bonus, right? I don't know what Marvel Enigma is going for, but I'd assume if it's twice to 4 times as rare as the Emperor, plus then again, the whole girl factor, right? $3,000 to $5,000 seems kind of realistic. Plus you have the whole awareness that it's 1 in 100 versus the Emperor where it's 1 in X. If you don't tangibly know what that other number is, your mind goes everywhere with it, right? So knowing that it's 1 in 100 definitely gives it a bit more power than necessary. So to get any specific Marvel, it'd be 1 in 1,920 packs, right? Because there's 10 Marvels. For part of the Mistveil, it would be 1,700, right? 1 in 1,700. So your odds look better for part of the Mistveil. But the amount of actual valuable Marvels that will be truly desired over the longevity of the game as collector pieces is significantly less. You also don't have this whole collection abundance, right? With the transcend cards, the dragons, everyone wants a whole collection of dragons. Everyone wants a whole collection of angels. I don't know if people want a whole collection of transcend cards, right? I think it is just an art by art basis of what your interest is and what you want to collect. Yeah, some people will be collecting sets, but it won't be as impactful as a set of dragons, as a set of angels. So yeah, that's my stance when it comes to Marvels and prices. And again, really hammer home, if you don't know by now, Fab does have this cycle of cards being heavily overvalued because there is just such a great demand for singles at the release of any given product. But it does taper off and level out over the period of time. We'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts and feelings, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but time will tell. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.